Virgo, welcome to your June 2019 General Tarot reading. It's raining here. You know, I'm giving you a little preview, Virgo. Tonight I just ordered a set of runes. I said runes. And so I'm excited. I can't wait to get them because I'm going to be using them in future readings. Maybe not every reading, but just some. When I first was learning about divination techniques, and I'm not talking about anything formal, but I was given as a gift a bag of runes. This was back when I was really young. I might have been as young as, I think it was for my 20th birthday or something, many years ago. So I would just do them. You know, I'd pick runes. I don't know if I did an actual spread or not. But it's funny. I mean, maybe it's from a past life or something. Because I don't know. I think I had like some Scandinavian life. Maybe in Norway or something. The Norse stuff really gets to me. I mean, I kind of like feel a strong connection to it. And I did have to read Beowulf in high school, but I don't think I actually read it. So, okay. Okay, I'm going to pick an additional card right now. I picked your card, the Hermit. The heart of the matter is the Queen of Swords. This can be a woman who is a boss. She's a boss. She's like, kind of like, you might even think of her as a little bit cold and analytical, and somebody who is not really like necessarily too emotional, but more rational. This can be a double-edged sword, pardon the pun, because sometimes people who are not emotional, they also tend not to be biased. They don't tend to like play favorites and stuff like that, but they also can be a little bit insensitive, I would say, maybe a little bit too critical. And if somebody needs to be fired, they might not have like a huge problem doing it or feeling guilty about it. This could certainly be an aspect of you where you have to marshal your forces. I often think, I've started to think that the Queen of Swords is trying to make a decision, but it might be like a personal decision that is really kind of like tugging at their heartstrings. And even though, Virgo, I don't see you as a particularly emotional sign, I do feel like you are caring in your own efficient way. And that, you know, if there's something that is, you know, kind of like telling you that you need to make a decision, you'll do it, but you would rather have a sense of the ability to like not have to like hurt anybody's feelings, or you want people to, you know, you're a caring person in your own right. You may not like drama, but you still don't want to make waves. And it's funny because I'm looking at the past position that kind of informs this decision. It's the Fool card. So this is kind of like if some Virgos out there are kind of wandering into new territory somehow. And maybe this is even you. You're the a supervisor of others. And this is like totally new for you. I think a lot of Virgos wouldn't really want to be a supervisor. I mean, unless you have strong Leo in you. Or maybe a moon in Capricorn. If you have a moon in Capricorn or Capricorn rising, that could possibly be it. But most Virgos would rather kind of, I think, have their own little office, and you are willing to take orders from another person. As long as that person can give you a little bit of space so that you can kind of improve upon their methods if need be. But this may be something where you've started something, you've gone in a totally new direction, and you're coming up against this person, and you might find them or her rather challenging. I'm trying to think of because the Fool to me is almost somebody who is even kind of carefree, not necessarily even working at the present time. So how would the Queen of Swords play into that, I wonder? This is like one of the few times, and I just had another reading recently where I was just kind of scratching my head and going, okay, how do I make connections with these cards? And, what I could see too is if you have been perhaps married for a long time and you're finally single and you're kind of footloose and fancy free, that's how I would see the Fool, but you're trying to avoid feeling certain emotions right now because you are trying to break free from that, and even I guess it doesn't have to be a personal relationship. This does seem more connected to your work because the Ace of Pentacles is the higher message. And I would say a couple things about the Ace of Pentacles. First of all, this is, kind of a philosophical card. So it's saying you can always get a new job. So if you have a boss and you have just kind of wandered into the situation, maybe you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. Sometimes the Fool can represent somebody who hasn't really been paying attention. And they just kind of wandering around and agreeing to something that now feels very challenging at the workplace. And it's letting you know, there's always another job. This isn't the only job on the planet. So even if you feel maybe you feel a sense of bait and switch where you thought it was going to be one thing and you weren't paying attention. And now you've kind of gotten into the clutches of this Queen of Swords. And you feel what do I do now? And that's kind of and the Ace of Pentacles can also be that this is, don't worry, this is, going to happen for you at some point, that you are going to get another job offer. I think the likelihood is greater if you're receptive to that possibility. Now, you may have just started a new job and you're already needing to exit that. That sometimes happens. A Virgo person can feel maybe I didn't give it a good enough try. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. And second guessing yourself isn't a good idea. If you're dealing with something along these lines, it's always good to honor yourself and realize when you are in a position that might be really, I was going to say thankless or impossible. Sometimes there are impossible situations where it's not going to get better. And the sooner you see it, the more you can, the sooner you can get away from it. What crosses you is the Justice card. Now, this could be like, this can be a situation where you feel like maybe you're trying to remedy this through some kind of mediation at work, or you're hoping, or you're feeling like there is something unfair happening. And it's very possible that there is bias, that there is preferential treatment. This is another thing that people get caught up in, where they see, blatant examples of bias, and their next response is, that's wrong, everybody should be treated the same, and blah, blah, blah. What I say something a little bit unusual that I think most people wouldn't say. And I ask people if they are in a situation where they are not being treated in the way that they should at work, and somebody else is being treated in a preferential sort of a way, is even if you could sue them, or whatever the type of process you could go through, and the courts decided in your favor, and you were even able to get like a promotion that you feel that it was declined, would you feel like you would be comfortable on that job? Because trying to sue to get your promotion, or just to get them to stop scapegoating you, or making somebody out to be the perfect employee, but they're just kind of trying to marginalize you, or whatever it is that you feel, even if you won the verdict in a court case, you would still have to be around these types of people. Do you think that they're going to be, even if they stop harassing you, if that's what's going on, you're still going to have to be in their company, surrounded by people like that? I personally would rather just remove myself from that situation, because I don't want to be even in their presence. And I think also this card in the challenge position is really challenging you to stop seeing things as unfair, simply because it seems like that on the surface, that you're the one that's bearing the brunt of everything. But to see that there may be a whole deeper level. Maybe the universe is trying to send you a message that it's time for you to leave, and you're not getting the memo. What's coming in are the advice is the Four of Cups. Look at what makes you feel dissatisfied in life. A people, place, or thing. Sometimes people think that if something is offered to them, they need to take it. You see the clouds offering the cup, which is related to love. So a person will get involved with somebody simply because they're showing them attention or showing them affection, whether or not they're really attracted to the person, interested in the person. They feel like, oh, somebody's showing interest, I should get in a relationship with them. Or here's a free sample of something. Here's something that's free. I'm going to take it, whether or not they need it. Just doing something because it's offered to a person. It's almost like a compulsive need to take what somebody else is offering and not use discrimination to see if this is something that is going to enhance your life. You can use your emotions as a guidance system. I believe Esther Hicks talks about it in those terms. And things that are not do not feel satisfactory. This card is a card of dissatisfaction. Things that leave you feeling flat, leave you feeling bored. Boredom, I think, is an important thing, is underrated in terms of, you know, a red flag. But, you know, Virgo is a sign that's ruled by Mercury, so you're very naturally curious about things in life, Virgo. You tend to be a good reader and a good talker. And so my feeling is that you need a partner who's going to be like that. And if you don't have one, you should really be aware of that and not kind of like play it off. If this is a job situation, being aware of someone, of being unsatisfied with the way things are going, understanding that your dissatisfaction is an important clue as to whether or not something is appropriate for you. The outcome is the Ten of Wands. That's why I picked an additional card. This is a card of the person with a burden. They're kind of carrying this load. This does not necessarily belong to them, though. They may be doing the work of two people in the office, and that's what the Queen of Swords is. You know, maybe a person who really doesn't seem to understand that she's asking too much of you. And so you may decide to keep going, and perhaps the demands keep growing. And that's the other thing, is that it never gets to the point where you can prove, maybe you're like a new employee and you're trying to prove yourself by being as helpful as you can be, but nothing you do is good enough. It's like they always have more expectations of you because they might be taking advantage and you're allowing it. So I picked an additional card, the Hermit, and this is about, you know, spending time alone and seeking the truth. This is your card, Virgo. So really honoring yourself, but kind of like trying to find yourself and trying to figure out, because the inner light can give you a direction. The Hermit holds up the lantern because he is seeking the truth. But he's not seeking it through others. He's seeking it within himself, and he's spending time alone in order to accomplish this. And maybe that's what you need to do in order to really know what direction to take, because you may be like on thin ice where you're trying to prove yourself, and the more you do, the more you're getting burnt out. So you want to make sure that you're not going to push yourself too hard, because you can be a workaholic if you want to be. Okay, that's what I have for you, Virgo. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.